Okay, Ali. This is the shin piece. I still have to put those little tabs on it, but this is I sanded it down to 240, I believe. So I started with a 60 to get rid of the deep striations that it had in it. But this is what it looks like after you wash it off. Still a little bit wet, but yeah, so get ready to paint this one. This is going to be brown, so it doesn't need to be perfect. But I don't know, you can see a few little things in it. And around this part was really difficult to get, so that's where the little tiny sanders come in, the tiny stick sanders come in play. All right. Okay, so this is the piece that I cut the little flap off, and this is what it looks like after I glued it. I'm just gonna fill it with Bondo. There's just a little gap right there and right there, but other than that, I think maybe I'll sand the other one first and then glue it on. I don't know. It's looks pretty good for a glue job, but I'm gonna sand it and then I'll show you what I did after this. Okay, so this is the Bondo process. You gotta mix this these two things together to make some putty. I use a Jesus, this stuff stinks. I use a spatula and mix it on a board. So oops, a little bit too much hardener. So I'm going to put a little bit more putty. You don't want too much hardener because your putty hardens really quickly if you do that. So this is how I mix it, just on a board, or you could use a paper plate or whatever. But Jesus, that stuff stinks. Whew. Okay, so on this, there's like some gaps, some gapping on the edges, and a little bit on the top. So I'm gonna try to hurry because this stuff sets up in about 5 minutes. And it's okay if you get too much. You'll just sand that off anyway. You just want to fill in the gaps and make sure it's smooth for the most part. So, alright. Oh, it's already starting to harden. Shit. I put too much hardener in it, I think. Yeah. That was not 5 minutes. So I'm gonna just squeeze it on there because it'll still dry, but it'll just be thicker to get off of here. But yeah, that was way too much hardener for such a little patch of stuff. Yeah, so this will harden in probably 15 minutes, and then you can sand it. I think it says in about 30 minutes, maybe. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. It usually only takes about 30 minutes, maybe 45 at the most, and then I just clean this stuff off of my palette. But yeah, I put too much hardener in it, and you can get the stuff that's not hardened, not to mix. You can get the pre-mixed stuff. It's a little more expensive, but it's a little less pain in the ass. But yeah, the hardener is super. It makes it go super quick. So usually it's about 5 minutes, but this time it was like 2 minutes. So, all right. Okay, so I sanded this, and then I re-puttied it because the edges were a little bit off. So I re-puttied it. When you sand it, you can actually start sanding the big stuff off after about 10 minutes, maybe 15, just so that it's not as hard to get all that goop off of it. But if you can see, there's quite a bit on there, but the way I glued it on, it was not even, so hopefully this helps. Okay, so I just took a really heavy-duty sandpaper to just knock off the big stuff. And then later, when you actually go to sand it, it's actually a little easier. It doesn't take as long to get through the big chunks. But yeah, so that's what it looks like. Hopefully it'll look good. Okay, so after you sand it, just make sure you wash it off real good, because the paint won't stick to this powder unless you rinse it off a little bit. Let it dry before you paint, obviously. But yeah, this turned out pretty good. It's nice and smooth. So I'm going to try painting it in just a little bit here, and then I'll show you what I do after that. So this is after it's been painted, and actually I sanded it a little bit, so it's pretty smooth. I just painted the top edge, so it's still a little bit wet, but this is what it looks like after it's been sanded and primed. Actually sanded, bondoed, and primed. So hope you like this video.